Good evening, Terraria enjoyers, and welcome to the finale of the Blade Burger Meal of the Day, with the finale of my playthrough and showcase of the Polarities mod, onions not included. In the last episode, we defeated a silly worm, a virus boy, and a big plant. In this episode, we're going to the moon, all the way to the Polarities themselves. As usual, here's a list of the mods used in this run. If you have any suggestions for mods to play down the line, let me know. If you say Calamity, I will eat your kneecaps. Anyways, let's resume this final part in this perplexingly poggers plight and polarities. To start off, I checked out Plantera's book, which I honestly should have done last episode. It created Plantera hooks that shot out from you. Pretty neat. Next up, I went back into the fractal dimension to grab dendritic energy, which required 5 minutes of the fractalization debuff to mine. When I returned from the dimension, I crafted the energy lance. It was a melee weapon that made the player lunge in a direction that you attack in. It had a short cooldown on the lunges, which was unfortunate. I then crafted the fractal timer, which sped up the fractalization debuff, allowing you to not have to physically wait minutes on end to be able to mine the ores and have new enemies spawn in the fractal dimension. A necessity later on. Afterwards, I went into the dungeon to find a Bone Lee. I only needed to kill one to be able to efficiently farm them through the Deviant from Farger's Mutant. It didn't take long for me to be able to craft the Master Ninja gear. Only 20 Bone Lees or so, no biggie. Now it was time to look for Life Fruit. I was not successful at that time, but I did find Pharaoh Claws, so I crafted all the way up to the Fire Gauntlet. Nice! And now it is time for the first boss of the episode. Unfortunately, that boss is Golem. Enjoy this fight. When the Golem was defeated, Mantella ore spawned in the underworld. After farming Golem for a pixel, I crafted beetle armor and the wings, then went down to hell to find this new ore. Don't stand on it, it do be hurting. Staying long enough in lava also makes a spooky worm that despawns if you leave lava. Weird. It drops convective plating, which is combined with molten armor and convective bars, the Mantella bar stuff, to make convective armor. I didn't craft it because I had beetle armor. It was just better, unfortunately. I then crafted a new melee weapon out of the convective bars, the Asthenos. It was a true melee weapon that did a lot of damage and halved contact damage from enemies. I then remembered Golem's book. It gave buffs to movement if you didn't have wings. Up next, I went back into the fractal dimension to explore it a lot more and grab a new ore that I unlocked from beating Golem, self-similar ore and bars. They required at least 5 minutes of fractalization in expert mode to mine. After mining a bunch, I just explored this dimension to the edge of the explorable world. When I returned from the dimension, I crafted a whole lot of self-similar bars. The melee armor set gave immunity to up to 10 minutes of fractalization, 10 defense, and 10% more melee damage. As good as beat armor? No. Back into the dimension I went, staying until I hit the 10-minute mark. New enemies spawned, like this cube. One of them dropped a key to the chests around the underground. I saw a triangle boy, then died to it. Sad. When I returned to the overworld, I crafted a self-similar pick, then a self-similar sword. The sword was a neat projectile weapon. Didn't pierce, unfortunately. Next up, time to go fishing. It is time to fight Duke Fishron. Duke down, not bad. The Duke's book from the Ghost Rider increased your damage by a lot when near the ocean. And of course, next is the Eclipixie. This boss was summoned by using a hollowed star in a solar eclipse. The star drops at the end of the Rapture event. Enjoy this nice boss fight. Eclipixie down. Nice fight. Its treasure bag contained a weapon from its loot pool, Eclipixie dust, and its expert mode item, the Solar Calibrator, which gave the player the ability to get a guaranteed crit for 3 seconds after dealing a certain amount of damage. Its book was an upgrade to the Sun Pixies, but the trail did more damage and homed on the enemy after a few seconds. Pretty nice. Next up, for the next boss, we have the Hammerophage. Summoned in a similar way to the Eclipixie, it required a Blood Moon to summon, and an item dropped at the end of the Pestilence. Remember how I said it was unfortunate that the self-similar sword didn't pierce? Yeah, get ready for a pretty long fight. I'll skip around in the fight because it's so long. Enjoy! Hammerophage down. Its treasure bag contained hemorrhagic fluid, a crafting material. It also held a weapon from its loot pool, and its expert mode item, which summoned tentacles around the player to shoot blood at enemies, weaponized periods. Its book granted a teleport ball on the ground. Next up, I farmed the Pestilence to get a few weapons. Similar to the Crystal Knives, the Scab Stabbers was a melee weapon that stacked. Unlike the Crystal Knives, these had a pretty short range. I was able to make all 5 to try against a Lunatic Cultist. Let's see how it does. Enjoy the fight. Cultist down, the pillar event began. I targeted the worst pillar and the pillar for my class, the solar pillar first. With the pillar down and fragments collected, I crafted the Nemesis. Just like the first modded item I crafted this run, this one was the final warhammer of the mod. You could right click to summon projectiles from the sky. It did quite a lot of damage. I also made the daybreak, then resumed the pillars, suffering immensely. The final pillar went down, and it was time for the Moon Lord. Impending doom is approaching, and approach it did. Enjoy the fight. Moon Lord down. Only one boss left to go, the Polarities. To prepare, I bought the Moonlord's Ghost Rider book, which gave attacks a chance to lifesteal. Now, I'm gonna be real, this probably needs a nerf because it's entirely overpowered. I crafted solar flare armor, then spectral lenses, and upgraded the spectacles. It allowed for 3 book buffs. I opened a ton of Moonlord treasure bags to craft an equipment, the Luminous Emblem. I did not realize at the time, but this emblem is from Weapon Out, not actually Polarities. Why Weapon Out has items, I have no idea. The reason people use Weapon Out is to show off their weapons, not use the items from this mod. Anyways, now the Polarities is next. So here's a quick showcase of the gear that I used for this fight. Check it out. Now time to fight the Polarities. Enjoy this final battle in the Polarities mod. and the Polarities were defeated. Its treasure bag was packed full. It held a weapon from its loot pool, polarized bars, Souls of Smite, and its expert mode item, the electrodynamic tunnel, which allowed you to hit a hotkey to teleport, leaving an electric trail behind. I used the bars and souls to craft the electric edge, a melee weapon which summoned lightning. I was able to find a good way to farm the polarities effectively to get enough materials to craft the armor set that's made from its bars and souls, the high-tech armor, along with the magnetic helm and electric visor. The set bonus, and even the armor's appearance, changed depending on the helmet you wore. Wearing the electric helm allowed you to make damaging spikes whenever you dealt damage with a weapon. The magnetic helm gave the ability for damage to grant defense, but the bonus reset if you got hit. How high could this bonus go? It seems infinite. It's pretty funny. And with that, we round out the series. The final upgrade made are as follows: from Turtle Armor to Solar Flare Armor. As for weapons, I ended on the Electric Edge. For equipment, I added the Master Ninja Gear and the Luminous Emblem, which, again, not from Polarities. I'll remember that time. So here's some stats now. Total deaths this playthrough was exactly 30 deaths. The total time spent in this mod was just over 18.5 hours. Now, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for next week when I review this mod and reveal what is the one coming after this one. See you all in the next one. Blade Burger out.